Hello and good afternoon. My name is Molly McGurr. I'm the Director of Events and Programs with Traverse Connect. We are excited to hear from 15 out of 17 candidates who will be running from Grand Traverse County Commissioner positions on the November 8th election. We asked members from our communities to submit their questions in advance, both through our social media channels and our event page by using a link from a survey form. We have looked at all of these questions submitted, which helped us with the questions being asked here today. Because of this, we will not be taking questions during this live event due to time restraints. However, if you do have specific questions for the candidates that were not covered today, we encourage you to check out the Traverse Connect 2022 voting information and candidate profile questions, which will be posted in the chat box here for you today. This event is being recorded and will be posted on the Traverse Connect YouTube page within 24 hours, so please feel free to share. I would now like to turn it over to Henry Wolf. Henry, thank you.
Thank you, Molly, and thank you for everyone for joining us today. My name is Henry Wolf, and I'm the Director of Government Relations for Traverse Connect in the Northern Michigan Chamber Alliance. I just want to thank the Record Eagle first for moderating tonight's discussion, and thank all of our candidates for taking the time to do this, as it's an important part of the process for members of the public to get to know our Grand Traverse County candidates a little bit better, in addition to the questionnaires that have been posted on our website, a link that I'll drop into the chat for everyone to view as we get into tonight's forum. So again, thank you all for being here, and I'll pass it over to Rebecca from the Record Eagle. Thanks, Rebecca.
Thank you, Henry. I'm Rebecca Pierce, the Executive Editor of the Record Eagle, and we're going to get started right now because our time is limited. We have 17 candidates running for Grand Traverse County Commission, and we're pleased that 14 of them have joined us live tonight. On your screen, I'd like to introduce, in alphabetical order, TJ Andrews. TJ, there she is. David Boschbaugh. David. Lauren Flynn, Pamela Harris Kaiser, Pamela, Rob Henschel, there he is, Brad Jewett, there's Brad, Ellen Koenig, Bruce Moore. Very good. Daryl Nelson. Wayne Schmidt. Amanda Scott. Scott Seifert. Ashley Walter. And Joe Walsh. Very good. Candidates will have 1 minute each for their opening statement and 2 minutes to respond to the questions. 2 questions have been given to the candidates in advance. These questions have been generated by the questions asked in advance from the community. We will post the question being asked in the chat box for your reference. Our timekeeper, Liz McKellar, will keep track of the time by raising cards when there is 1 minute and then 30 seconds left. So you can see how that will work. Candidates who were introduced in alphabetical order will provide their opening remarks in alphabetical order. Let's get started. Candidates, in your opening statement, what is your top priority if elected? You have 1 minute, please. TJ, we'll start with you.
Thank you. I'm TJ Andrews, the Democratic candidate for District 7. I'm an attorney. I work for clean water and clean energy locally and statewide. I'm an open water swimmer. I volunteer with several local organizations. I'm a mom to a 5th grader at Eastern Elementary and a 7th grader at East Middle School. My top priority for running for county commission is to improve how our county serves our community. This commission sets policies, oversees services, manages property and budgets, all of which significantly and directly affect this community. When I'm a commissioner, I will work proactively to bring forward issues that have not had enough time on the agenda at county meetings, like strategic planning that includes housing and childcare, investments in infrastructure, and oversight over roads. And I will oppose spending public, staff, and commissioner time on issues that have no place on our agendas, which we've seen too much of recently. Whatever the issue, I will approach it transparently within.
David?
Hi, I'm Dave Fashbaugh. I'm kind of new to politics, at least for public service. I'm an electrician. I head up our labor union, IVW Local 498. Some of the things I'd like to see at the county level, a little bit less bickering, I guess. Not bickering, but we need more transparency, and we need to be taking care of the public a little better. There's issues that get brought up that really they have no place in the county commission, and those things don't really need to be addressed. I hope to bring a little bit more transparency and honesty, hopefully earn respect back to the commission. Thank you.
Thank you. Lauren?
Hi, everyone. My name is Lauren Flynn, and I'm running to represent the constituents of District 2 on the county board. As a single mother and a professional, I have personally been affected by some of the crises that our area is facing. I look forward to working hard to create and expand affordable workforce housing, ensuring quality mental health care is available to all, and that working families have access to affordable childcare and early learning programs. I also want to make sure that businesses have what they need to acquire, enhance, and preserve employees to support our economy. We need new ideas, plans, and actions to solve these issues. And when I earn your vote, that's what I'll do at the county board. Thank you.
Thank you. Pamela? I think you're still muted, Pamela.
Hi, I'm Pam Kaiser. I'm running for the County Commission for Long Lake Township, where 4 generations of my family have called home. I have 3 priorities. 1, to keep our taxes reasonable. That means not removing Twin Lakes Park and giving it to Long Lake Township, where we do not have the tax base to support it. Number 2 is to improve mental health services in our county. We have a dire shortage of mental health beds for people experiencing crisis, and they too often end up in jail or dead. And number 3 is safety. Especially, I wish to move to rescind the so-called Second Amendment sanctuary adopted in March of 2020. A month later, it cost my 24-year-old son, Aaron, his life when a local gun shop decided not to close against the law without penalty and sold my son a rifle when he could not find access to his doctor, therapist, or the hospital.
Okay, thank you. Rob?
Hello, everybody. I'm Rob Henschel, currently the chair of the Grand Traverse County Commission.
Can you turn up your volume?
Here we go, everybody. I'm Rob Henschel,
Thank you.
local, grew up in small business locally, got involved in government mainly because of the headaches of dealing with government. So I'm a small government thinker. I don't believe government is the answer to all your problems. So every time someone says they want to start a new government program to solve some crisis, as they call it, which it's really not a crisis. There's definitely issues to deal with. But anyways, happy to lead the commission. We've made great strides for Grand Traverse County. We've got the best bond rating in the history of the county. We have many, many problems solved, a bigger fund balance in the history than we've ever had before. And I want to continue to work on that stuff. We're upgrading technology. We're taking care of staff. We are getting a lot of things done. And people that know what's going on with county business can tell you we've gotten a lot done in Grand Traverse County in the last 4 years. I want to continue that. Thank you.
Thank you. Brad?
Hi, I'm Brad Jewett, currently District 3 County Commissioner. So I've served 2 terms so far, or just finishing up my 2nd term, but I look forward to serving again to continue providing great services like we have. We've cut taxes, we improved services, we're addressing the mental health issue. I've served on all the public safety boards, and we've moved things forward with our public safety and everything. Do we have work to do? Yes, we have work to do, but that's why I want to continue to run. My wife and I are local business owners here. I know how to run business, and government a lot of times is business sense also, but I still want to work and continue working on the issues that our community is facing, and elect me and we will continue working like we have. Thank you.
Thank you. Ellen?
Hi, my name's Ellen Koenig, and I'm running for a number of reasons, but I'll say number one, it's because I've lived here for a long time, and I've watched what our county commission leaders have done, and a lot of great stuff and some not so great. And some of those not so great things we've paid the price for. And so I want to join this board as I see what they're doing. I'm so impressed they're tackling that mental health issue. That's been huge. That's been huge for a long time. I'm also interested in the senior center. We've got to get the county and the city together and get the seniors that building built. I'm really passionate about that. And I'm also really proud of everything this board has done with the finances and taking care of things like the Hartman-Hannon Bridge, tons of things, the pensions, getting that pension fund taken care of. This is a great board. They're hardworking, and I want to join in and help contribute to all the work they've been.
Thank you. Bruce?
Hi, I'm Bruce Moore. I'm running for County Commission in District 5, which is roughly the north half of East Bay Township and the south half of Acme Township. I'm a retired mathematical modeling practitioner and project manager. I grew up in Mount Pleasant and earned a chemical engineering degree from U of M. I spent my working life in Dallas, Texas at IBM and later a large credit union where I managed an analytics department. Along the way, I earned 2 master's degrees and a doctor of engineering. I returned to Michigan in 2018 after Kristen and I went through what amounted to a business school site selection problem that led us to Traverse City. Through our church, I volunteer at Safe Harbor, and I've seen the housing problems in our community. We need to work on these local problems instead of wasting time on pointless Second Amendment and anti-vax resolutions. In the 30 years I lived in Texas, the Metroplex grew from about 2 million people to 8 million people, and I saw many early decisions that didn't look so spiffy over time. I look forward to a better future for our community. I hope to earn your vote.
Thank you. Daryl?
Hi, my name is Daryl Nelson. I was born in Grand Traverse County. I was raised here. I went away to college and was gone for a couple of years and couldn't wait to get back. I love this community. I raised my family here. I'm very fortunate to say that my parents are still alive and still live in Grand Traverse County. This county is important to me. This is the place that I plan to continue my life, to live out the rest of my life. And we're standing on the shoulders of some very great people who've done good things to get us to where we are today. So my priorities are: don't show up and screw it up, try to make it better. I want to make good governance decisions that I can be proud of 20 years from now. I want to work collaboratively with fellow commissioners and staff and the organizations we interact with. And I want to understand when the county can help and when the county is a hindrance. So thanks for everyone for being here. Thanks Traverse Connect for putting this on. This is a great event. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Wayne?
There we go. Thank you to Traverse Connect and the Record Eagle for hosting this forum this evening. Traverse City, Grand Traverse County is my hometown. It's where I chose to raise my family, move back after college, and all of my business experiences here in Grand Traverse County. The top issue for me is bringing back civility and making sure that the county board remains an effective unit of government. I have a long track record of bipartisan work. I've served under 2 Democratic governors, 1 Republican governor. I've served in the minority, I've served in the majority. The city and Old Mission Peninsula share similar issues, and we need to work together. And I've done that with diverse groups, stakeholders, and other interest groups. We also need not only to work across the aisle, but need the ability and the experience to work within the governing party the majority party that governs Grand Traverse County. That is why I'm asking for your vote this November 8th to serve as a Grand Traverse County Commissioner.
Thank you. Amanda?
Hi, thanks everyone for being here. My name is Amanda Scott. I've spent the past 10 years working for local nonprofits and serving on local boards, including almost 8 years serving on planning commissions and housing committees. I grew up here in Grand Traverse County. I worked 3 jobs to put myself through college, starting at NFC before graduating from Michigan State's James Madison College, Go Green. For the last 7 years, I've worked on the administrative team at Family Services, a local nonprofit. There I've helped launch, manage, and fund many different programs, including those around mental health and workforce development. I'm running to put people over politics and get back to work on real issues that matter. Housing is a top priority, followed closely by mental health, childcare, infrastructure, and workforce development. I have lots of new ideas, experience, and will bring fresh energy to the board. Thanks for your vote.
Thank you. Scott?
Hi there, Scott Seifert, District 8. I'm running unopposed this year, but thanks to Traverse Connect and everybody for the time to be here. Why I'm running for the commission, I live in a District 8 that's very unique as apart from the rest of the county. And as I look around my neighbors and friends, community members, I realize how unique our district is compared to the rest of the county. And I wanted to make sure that those folks are represented in a unique fashion and represented by one of their community members, as only a community member, one of their community members could understand where they want to go forward. One of my biggest issues moving forward with Grand Traverse County Commission is they've done a really good job of absolving some past bad decisions. And I want to make sure that that's a trend that continues as opposed to getting into debt further by all of a sudden acting like we won the lotto. And that's all.
Thank you. Ashley?
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us. Thank you for hosting. I think this is really important for constituents across the district to know where we stand on the issues and get to know us a little bit more. So thank you, Traverse Connect, for doing this. My name is Ashley Walter, and I'm running for District 3, which covers the west part of Traverse City and part of Garfield Township. I'm a current elected city commissioner for Traverse City and live in downtown Traverse City with my family. As a commissioner, I've had additional appointments to the Arts Commission, Brown Bridge Advisory, and the Joint Rec Authority with Garfield Township. And as an elected official over the last several years, I've worked with nonprofits and businesses to implement creative solutions to our housing crisis and prioritize sewer and water infrastructure improvements to further protect our watershed, which we hold dear. In contrast to the current board that's focused too much on a national political agenda and ignored our neighbors' most urgent needs, I will work with all constituents. And
thank you. Joe?
Hi, Joe Wells, running in District 3, and I am a very grateful father, and I also spend a ton of time on the Bay. I'm running as a Republican for District 3, and I would like to clarify, I kind of coined a term. I'm what you call a covenant Republican. And what I mean by that is a Republican who holds to the original intent of the amended Constitution and the party platform of the Republican Party, which was formed in order to free the slaves by Northerners who were ready to, who willingly risked their lives and their sacred honor to do what was right in the sight of God and man alone. And I'm here to protect and defend the Constitution at the county level. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we are going to be moving into the key questions that have been posed by the audience that we were able to compile. Candidates will have 1 minute each for their they'll have 2 minutes to respond to the questions. And we're going to go alphabetically, and then on the second question, we'll go reverse alphabet. So I will mention the names so you know when to give your answer. Here's the question. If elected, how would you foster greater transparency in government and fight practices that hinder transparency, such as current use of encrypted apps like Signal, round-robin emails, and exorbitant charges for public documents obtained through Freedom of Information requests. TJ, you're first.
So transparency is the foundation of good government, right alongside accountability. And at bottom, we should conduct public business in the public. Any workaround on transparency erodes citizen trust in government and exposes our county to legal liability. Those issues you just listed in the question are real world examples from our county. Encrypted messages are illegal at the state level. Our legislature unanimously passed a bill in 2021 that our governor signed, which banned encrypted messaging at the state level, but they left out local government. We know our county staff and elected officials are using Signal. Round robin discussions, whether by email, text, or in person, if they're deliberating public business, state law requires they be conducted at public meetings. It's no secret how to improve transparency. First, we have to make our rules and policies very clear that we as a county default to public disclosure and public deliberations. This should be spelled out in our FOIA procedures, employee policies, ethics policies, and of course in our board rules. Second, we make sure everybody who is subject to the policies understands them. Basically, we put everyone on notice of what the rules are. And third, we enforce our policies and rules. When people who have received evasive FOIAs in this county have appealed them to this county commission, which sits as sort of an appellate body over FOIA, this board has upheld them. How much is charged for FOIA is set by this board. FOIA rules are set by this board. We must elect people who will prioritize transparency and hold people accountable for the decisions they're making with respect to transparency.
Thank you. David?
Yeah, transparency is pretty much my middle name. As a union official, there aren't very many people that have to live as a transparent life as I do. I represent people. That's my job every day. Everything about my job is transparent. There are things that in the county commission today that round robin, the encrypted apps, I don't think those are right. They shouldn't be around. Like TJ says, she thinks that they're illegal. There's other ways you can get FOIAs. If the printed FOIAs are too costly, ask for an electronic FOIA. I've done that a lot as a union official to ask for FOIAs. You don't have printed paper that way. That reduces cost. The things that can be done by the county commission should be to support the people. That's what their job is. And that's why I'm running for county commission. Thank you.
Thank you. Lauren?
Two ways that we as a board can foster greater transparency is strategic performance management and finding more solutions for municipal customer service. With strategic performance management, we need to create a strategic plan that defines our long-term and short-term goals and ensure that all projects and results are tracked and communicated concisely and clearly. We need to find a format that speaks to our residents and our constituents very clearly so they understand what we're doing at our meetings. When a strategic plan is added online in plain sight, members of the community and businesses will feel more comfortable that our county is on target for short and long-term growth. It is important to let our citizens know where their tax dollars are going and how our county is performing. Secondly, ensuring that each citizen is heard and valued. We are public servants to the citizens of our districts. We work for them, and we need to make sure we are communicating and each department is doing their best to completely share information as clearly and quickly as possible. Our voters should not feel like they are getting the wool pulled over their eyes. All agendas should be planned, solidified by a certain time before our Board of Commission meetings, so that any and all stakeholders that would like to be present and can ensure that their voices and opinions are shared with us before big decisions are made. and also making our meetings more accessible to all by changing the time from 8 in the morning when people are going to work, taking their kids to school and unable to see what we're doing, making it evening time so everyone can be part of our community and our democracy.
Thank you. Pamela? Is Pamela on? Pamela, you're muted.
Okay, I could not agree more that the public's business must be done in public. Transparency requires that we communicate as a board in public and only in public. It means that we don't have phone calls, secret use of apps, and other really shocking abuses that have taken place in Grand Traverse County. I've borne witness to the impact of this when we learned that Long Lake Township had been in discussion, in private discussion, which the public has never been invited to participate in, concerning the future of Twin Lakes Park. Twin Lakes Park is an important part of the Grand Traverse County park system. It actually is one of the most lucrative parks in terms of paying for itself. And Long Lake Township has only approximately 10,000 units. We cannot afford to take this on. It hasn't been discussed in public. I get phone calls from the heirs of the judge who donated it to Grand Traverse County, asking me if I can help stop this. And I will, because it's not sustainable. If we had done this in public, it never would have gotten this far.
Thank you. Rob?
So yeah, we have the Open Meetings Act, which tells us that all of our deliberations with a quorum or more of a board have to be done in a public forum. You know, before apps, we had telephones, which we still have. So I really don't know where this question's coming from. One of the benefits of owning a small business is I get to see up to 1,000 of my constituents a day. They can come in if they got a problem with the county, they come and talk to me about it. No one has ever brought up Signal, these apps. This is actually a bogus question. This is ridiculous. I don't know where you guys come up with it. I know you said you had a process for taking input, but it's just not an issue. I don't know where you guys come up with this, other than the only time I've heard Signal mentioned was when the Democrats did a FOIA and they included Signal, and we didn't have anything. People are going to use telephones. They're going to talk face to face. You're not going to stop that. And now in the electronic age, they're going to use whatever apps they have at their fingertips. So you know, we need to elect people that are ethical. They're going to follow the Open Meetings Act, whether it's on the telephone or on an app or face to face, doing a round robin with other commissioners. So we're very careful not to discuss topics with more than a quorum, currently 7 members. So that would be 4. So we can talk to a couple, but we can't talk to more than that. Next year, it'll be 9 commissioners. So we can talk to up to 5 outside of a meeting. And that's really how business gets done. You're going to have a conversation or 2 here and there and kind of get the feel for things, but you always be very careful not to talk to more than a quorum. And this board has been very good about that. The only exception that would be Betsy Coffey, who I've had to call out several times for sending emails and doing reply to all. You know, she took a while to catch on, but lately she has, and I appreciate that. But overall, our board has been very transparent. So I really don't see this as an issue. If it becomes an issue, people will start talking about it, and they're just not talking about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Brad?
Hi, thank you. How to foster greater transparency? I would agree with Rob there. I mean, I think we've been very transparent and everything, and the Michigan Sunshine Laws, you know, dictate Open Meeting Act and Freedom of Information Act and everything. And you know, our hands are tied by how we conduct business in the public eye and everything like that. And I just don't know how we can be much more transparent. I've never ever even heard of Signal or some, whatever this question was, mobile, something about email, stuff like that. I guess I'm probably old school. I just have a phone that I can make calls on. I can send emails and text messages, but other than that, I don't have anything else on there. So, but we get down to the cost, what was the question on the cost? Freedom of information, the exorbitant charges. You know, people don't realize that there are charges for this. I mean, we're paying legal counsel, whether it's our own county employed legal counsel or outside legal counsel, to go through documents that are requested through freedom of information. And when those documents are requested, you know, we have to have legal counsel go through them to make sure what they can release and what they can't release, because there are still certain informational pieces in there they can't release. I look at this question here, and I mean, this is truly a question to me put together by our local media and everything. It's very pointed and everything, and that's exactly where it came from. But anyway, I do believe we are very transparent, and we'll continue to be very transparent.
Thank you. Ellen?
I read this question. First off, I'll say I don't know what anyone's insinuating, but I can speak to the Freedom of Information Act. I've used it quite a bit, and I do find it hard to use. When I've used it with the public schools and other areas, I get redacted pages you can't even read. They are expensive. I personally have found problems with the FOIA, but not with this commission. So I don't know why this is being questioned, but I'll tell you something, my integrity will say that everything should be public. I wish more government agencies were more open. I wish I didn't have to spend the hours I spend trying to dig through things like at the school board. It's very difficult to find out what they're teaching our kids and things. So I've been up against FOIAs, and I would like to see them paid for. Somehow get some legislation made from the state so that we could have the FOIA office be free. It's very prohibitive the way when you go for a FOIA, that trying to find out what they're actually teaching in schools or things like that. And they give you these redacted pieces, or it costs $2,000. It's very difficult. I don't know the insinuation with this board, which I've never seen any trouble with that. But if I come across it, you can be assured I'm going to definitely do whatever I can, whatever power I have, to make sure there's 100% transparency, because this is definitely an issue in some governmental circles. But I don't see it here at this board. Thank you.
Thank you. Bruce?
You know, the action that it's most obvious to voters is to stop doing the rile up the base resolutions that deal with issues beyond the control of the county. These are effectively smoke screens that obscure more mundane but consequential actions. Less obvious to voters is that the current board, every meeting is a blind side to the community. The most prominent example is the vote to leave Northern Lakes Community Mental Health. Based upon the agenda, no one expected there to be a consequential vote. Board rules should be changed to prohibit any motions for agenda items that do not have notice that action will be taken, and preferably require a draft motion. Board rules should prohibit the addition of items to the agenda during the meeting. Many states require the agenda to be fixed 72 hours in advance, and it works just fine. Board rules should be changed to require conflict announcement at the beginning of the meeting, as is done in township meetings. Board rules should require an informal preview of the agenda for the following meeting, as is done in townships. The board should hold more study sessions. This would promote open discussion of issues and reduce the value of the round robin emails. The employee handbook should be changed to prohibit the installation and use of disappearing message applications for county business. The current procedure for FOIA applications should be fixed. In several FOIA requests, I have received multiple copies of resolutions sent to 83 counties, even though I provided Google Vault search and exclusion words to specifically exclude these spam resolutions. Honoring my exclusion words would have eliminated hundreds of pages and hundreds of dollars from the FOIA and saved the prosecutor's office a lot of work. The most important change is that commissioners make a commitment to abide by the Open Meetings Act. Thank you.
Thank you. Daryl?
Hi, thanks. This question kind of troubles me in that it's an accusation in a question. And I've been involved in government for 6 years. I was a township trustee for 4 years. I've been a commissioner for 2 years. And I have found members of the Acme Township trustees and of Grand Traverse County Commission of both parties, of all sides, and administration and staff members to be very, very diligent about trying to follow the Open Meetings Act. I go to the Open Meetings Act training every year that's put on by our prosecuting attorney's office. I think we all try to do our best. When we have a conversation, we want to make sure that we're not having a round robin conversation. So when I talk to another commissioner, we always start out with, I've talked to this person and now I'm talking to you. Because if I've already talked to one other person and I'm talking to them, I'm done. I'm set at that 3. I can't talk to the 4th person. And if we find out what the other person, it's not a round robin thing. It just doesn't happen on this board. All this secret behind the scenes stuff, it isn't happening. Sometimes it's hard because you're trying to have a conversation with somebody, but you can't have a conversation with all the other board members. So you wait till the meeting. So sometimes you don't have all the information until the meeting. Also, when I was on Acme Township Board, we actually did an overhaul of our FOIA request charges. We had a person that was making 5 requests per week, 5 a week. We had 25 hours being sent by our staff members. So we went by actual cost and we right-sized that. If anybody wants to contact me about charges from the FOIA, that's a request that's never come to us. I will personally bird dog that for you and I will get you an answer. Absolutely. But it's never come before this board.
Thank you. Wayne?
Thank you. Let's be clear. Very first, round robin is already illegal, regardless of the technology, tough word to say, technology that is available to us today. It is already illegal. As a former commissioner, currently serving in the state legislature, I've always supported strict adherence to the Open Meetings Act, to the FOIA Act. I have supported financial disclosure that we're going to see in the possibility of Proposal 1 on the state ballot. I've always supported freedom of the press and making sure that notices were published in newspapers. And that also anything that deals with that could cause round robin, that's fine. Say that in whether it's the board ethics rules, whatever. But let's be clear, round robin is already illegal. It doesn't matter what form of technology is being used. And clearly at the state level, we did have a problem with one of our departments. We took action. It is taken care of. As FOIA fees are concerned, we must work with our local constitutional elected officials on what their costs are in providing that information. Whether it's electronically provided, paper, whatever form it is, we must offer reasonable charges to recoup our costs, but yet maintain the accessibility of that information. But again, let's be clear. Anything right now when business is not being conducted in public is already illegal, and I support continuing those efforts.
Thank you. Amanda?
Yeah, I think there's a lot wrong with what's been happening at all levels of our government. This isn't a political game. We've had enough of that. The public needs to be able to trust that we're doing our job and that we're doing it right. I regularly see last-minute additions to the agenda. Sometimes the people, the departments and organizations we're talking about don't even know that they're on the agenda. And then when the discussion starts, it's clear that a decision has already been made behind closed doors. It's unacceptable, it's embarrassing, and it's no wonder that people don't want to work with the county. There's a few things I think we can do, starting with changing the meeting time so that working people can attend, making more information public so that they can still find what they need if they can attend. Like they've said, FOIA fees should only cover what it costs to produce them. We should stop these shady backroom decisions and not just appear to follow the Open Meetings Act, but actually respect the intentions of it. Encourage public participation and stop making decisions that limit it. And let's bring some diversity to the board by electing some young people and women and stopping this old boys club. We need to develop a strategic plan. I have a lot of experience doing that, writing bylaws, processes. I'm good with technology. I do my homework. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's a lot of people already having successful policies in place. We can follow what they're doing. And let's just get back to work. It's enough with the nonsense already.
Thank you. Scott?
Hi, yeah. It never ceases to amaze me how people don't really understand in its culmination of the laws that are on the board or on the books already and how they're followed, whether it's an elected official, an appointee, a constituent, or somebody running for office. And the Open Meeting Act is one of those things. And the best way to keep your constituents informed is transparency and to deal with those kind of things that people think that are being quote unquote shady, whether they are there or not. And quite frankly, in my goal here is if you're my constituent and you have a question, ask me and I'll tell you. I'm not concerned about backdoor deals or any of that kind of thing. What's going on? If you want to know, I'll inform you. In addition to that, as for the FOIA request and exonerating excessive fees, I've been on both ends of that, where I've gotten it where it's been virtual or electronic documents when it's been nothing. And I've also been on the receiving end where they're paper documents, not particularly any one department or any one governmental entity or level, where it's been exorbitant and it's really priced you right out. And that is probably something that could be looked at. Again, electronically, I've never paid for them. So.
Thank you. Ashley?
Thank you. I firmly believe the saying, democracy dies in darkness. The Center for Public Integrity ranks Michigan 50th in the nation, dead last, for ethics, accountability, and transparency. Leadership from the top down, the county level, needs to believe in the value of transparency and its fundamental place in the health of our fragile democracy. It is integral to the health of our local democracy that we as leaders firmly believe in the power and practice of our sunshine laws, including Open Meetings Act and FOIA. Apps like Signal for communication should be disallowed for government business, as communication that should be on the public record can easily disappear. We need to pass an ethics policy which would address this and similar technologies. This crucial decision is built into the fundamental belief that we need to be ever vigilant about practicing and protecting our democracy, and without transparency in government activities, our democracy will wither and die. We also need to look at how we are charging for and processing the FOIA requests that come to the county level, as was previously mentioned. This process also needs to be transparent and as accessible as possible. This again comes from the leadership at the top, and it is our responsibility to set the clear expectation for this transparency and accessibility.
Thank you. Joe?
Yes, thank you. Well, as far as FOIA goes, again, it comes back to the original intent of the amended Constitution, which is government for, of, and by the people. Just yesterday, I got a denial of a FOIA request from the Grand Traverse Prosecutor Office, which was broken down into two parts. And one of them was a partial granting of the FOIA request. And I can just comment that, having just briefly read through the charges, I didn't think that them charging me approximately $33 a man hour for labor for a FOIA request was outrageous at all. I mean, I thought that was right in line. Although I've had several requests denied, I haven't had experience with, outrageous charges for FOIAs here in Grand Traverse. But given that government is for, of, and by the people, the government here in Grand Traverse County has absolutely no right to withhold from me an email between the county clerk and perhaps the Secretary of State or the State Board of Canvassers. Absolutely no right whatsoever, but that's what you get, okay? My position is that there's no restriction on FOIA, basically, because the government is owned by the people. And, as a subtext to that, we're talking about, encrypted apps and, where do you really draw the line with freedom of speech? I mean, if the laws are being broken, if round robin is being broken and you can prove it, then you've got something. I'm not for closed decisions or anything like that, but, going back to what the chair said, constituents are going to talk to commissioners constantly, and that's protected under the First Amendment to the Constitution. Thank you.
Okay, this is our next question, and the responses will be in reverse alpha order. So the question is, what do you see as the county board's role in economic development? And Joe, you go first. He's muted.
Okay, sorry about
There
that.
you go.
In Grand Traverse, we are blessed with such an amazing, interwoven, complex micro economy. And it's something that is absolutely so unique in this country and in the day and age that we're living in. We have so many micro businesses that support each other in so many ways. And I've been really fortunate to be a big part of that in Traverse City with, having a restaurant where I'm literally using hundreds of different vendors. It's such a great thing that we have. And the best thing that the county government can do to facilitate that is to get out of the way and keep regulations at an absolute bare minimum. The other side of that coin that I would say, in addition to the really great creative economy that we have locally, as being a major draw for people to come here and people to visit, is that at the same time, we have to be absolutely super hyper vigilant in protecting our natural resources. I love the water. I'm on the water all the time. Our natural resources are the other reason that people really want to come to Traverse City, where they won't even necessarily go to a place like Mackinac City. They'll come here instead because of that and the great economy that we have with all the creative entrepreneurs. So we need to get out of the way and we need to protect our natural resources. Thank you.
Thank you. Ashley? Thank you so much. I do believe our county government has a role to play in economic development, particularly for our vibrant small businesses and nonprofit sectors. Government is a partner to help create a community that fosters opportunity for all people to thrive. In order to have a strong environment for small businesses to thrive, pay good wages, and provide a strong compensation package for our families to thrive, we need to continue to support you. This can be achieved by first realizing that we do have an emergency situation related to affordable housing and childcare, both of which are holding businesses back. In many cases, recruiting talent to the area, but then these folks can't find affordable or even available housing to buy or rent or childcare. They are 100% intertwined in our current environment. We also have a role to play by investing in our critical infrastructure and environmental sustainability in order to achieve and maintain a thriving economy that supports all people with business ideas at all phases of development, from startup to recruitment of businesses to move to our region. Thank you.
Thank you. Scott?
Hi, yeah. Leadership role, it's been my experience and history that the more government is involved, the more lingering and bloated and inefficient a program is going to be. And there are multiple examples of it. For locally, a good thing would be the idea of affordable housing. It's just outrageous what people think is affordable. So whether it be natural disasters, affordable housing, or the more the government gets in, the more fingers in the pie, the less pie there is for everybody.
Thank you. Amanda?
Yeah, definitely our local economy can't thrive without a solid workforce. We need to make Grand Traverse County a great and affordable place to live and work, not just visit. Most of us can't afford to live in the city, like me out here in Fife Lake, but we also can't afford to drive 30 miles one way for work and then don't have great internet to work from home. Then there's childcare and groceries and mental health care if you can find it. All of these issues are interconnected, but we can't attract a skilled workforce without at least having somewhere for them to live. So that would be my first priority. And And I have lots of plans with a full page dedicated to housing solutions on my website, but I'll name a few. As a big planning and zoning nerd, I think we need to bring back the county planning commission so that they can help our local planning commissions and boards by reviewing zoning ordinances, sharing best practices, and just increasing their capacity overall. Development's coming. We might as well plan for it. Set pre-permit areas we want housing and reduce development costs. Provide incentives to developers for things like keeping this affordable long-term redevelopment, mixed use things like housing, above shops, above retail. I have more than 7 years experience with this and know I can help tackle it. Next would be workforce development and retention, which is literally what I do for a living. I helped launch work in 2018 and we've been pretty successful. We've put more than 300 young adults through our program in just 4 years, starting with a budget of less than 50,000 now to more than 2 million projected for next fiscal. Other issues I think are important would be childcare, mental health, infrastructure, internet access, especially out here in Sides Lake where I live and work from home a lot. I've learned in the nonprofit world to get creative. I find ways to do a lot with a little. Let's think outside the box and lean on the experience and knowledge of others so we can get some things done.
Thank you. Wayne?
Thank you. There's two things that we need to start out with for the basis of to answer this question. One, the county does have significant resources, much of it financial, to bring to bear to many of the problems and situations facing the county. Two, local control is fiercely defended in this county. The city, the townships, the villages, all want to maintain their control. The issue is that we don't need more planning commissions or anything like that, but I think a role of a community development director would be greatly appreciated. That kind of expertise and coordination that they could offer to bring the townships, the city, the villages, nonprofits, the business community, Traverse Connect, for example, to bring them together to work on those critical issues. Whether you're talking about childcare and working to coordinate that, which obviously has an economic impact. Whether you're talking about housing, again, working with the Land Bank Authority, the Brownfield Authority, working with the affordable, well, it's actually right now, it's the Home Rehabilitation Trust Fund. Developing that back into an affordable housing trust fund, I think would make a big difference. All of these issues, each township, each local unit of government, city and villages want their own spin, but to have a community development director to help coordinate all of it, I think would put the county board in a good position with its financial resources to really address those issues here in Grand Traverse County.
Thank you. Daryl?
Yeah, hi. I first started in economic development when I was 12 years old, when I started my first business as a lawn care professional on the street I lived on. They had to provide, the customers provided their own gas and their own mower, and I charged $1 an hour. Since then, I've owned and operated businesses in this community for a long time. There are things that the county can do to help the business environment, and there are things that they have no business doing. And understanding the difference is very important. I've hired hundreds and hundreds of employees over the years. I've spent millions of dollars in payroll. So I have a little bit of experience in that area. One of the first things I would tell a government, a county person would be budgetary responsibility is huge. When you have debt and higher taxes, that affects the economic activity of a community. You need to reduce and eliminate some of the speed bumps that can be put in front of the economic activity of an area. To find out what those are, you need to work together and foster relationships between different players. Traverse Connect has been a big key player in this. They've been very supportive role and working with county government on those things. There are many great organizations. I've been on several nonprofit boards and chaired several that work with economic development and working with government, with local and state government. As on a state board, there are a lot of things you can do, and there's a lot of things that you can do that cause a problem. So promoting and providing infrastructure, which is roads, sewer, utilities, excuse me, housing and transportation, those are all key things. Those are things that government can do better than small business or large business. But that facilitates that economic growth. That's our responsibility when we're in government. So stepping back, looking at how you can help, listening to the players that are involved, listening to businesses of different sizes is the key to coming up with a collaborative effort to be done.
Thank you. Bruce?
You know, the first role for the county is not to damage the reputation of the region by inviting the Proud Boys to meetings and passing a resolution that they want. That action by the board will make it difficult to recruit businesses to a region that is struggling to generate year-round jobs. It will make it more difficult to recruit employees to a region that is struggling to retain workers. The $300,000 Traverse Connect marketing grant in the recent state of appropriations does not even begin to undo the reputation damage from inviting the Proud Boys in to pass their Second Amendment sanctuary resolution in 2020 and the AR-15 brandishing in 2021. The lack of housing and childcare are significant constraints to business recruitment and growth. The county should reconstitute a planning department. The county controls appointments to the land bank and brownfield authorities, both of which can play a role in the housing crisis. The recent appropriations bill containing funding for a number of housing projects in northern Michigan does not contain funding for housing in Grand Traverse County. Other counties have worked to address childcare deserts. Grand Traverse County can too. The county can also play a role in providing utilities like water, sewer, and broadband. The county role is not always large, but it does have a role, and it must step up to that role. If you want a county commissioner who works to solve local problems, vote for me in November.
Thank you. Ellen?
Hi, yes, thank you. The county commission oversees a few departments that are very important to economic development. That would be the sheriff's department, the court systems, which keep the citizens of our county safe and keep crime rates down. That ensures a large economic growth. People can be trusted. This community is a safe place to come raise their families and bring their businesses. The other thing that the county commission has done is by funding the pension and taking care of all these other old, heavy financial issues, they're able to lower taxes. That again brings more businesses, brings more people to an area because it's business friendly. The infrastructure is very important for the sewers and the roads and those other things, those boring things that the county takes care of. But that again enables people to come to an area and know that there's going to be good services. And speaking about good services, this county commission has just raised the wages all across the board for the staff, which means that the constituents are going to have better staffing and being taken care of much better. And in that helps raise the economic development. All these things put together into place, good schools, good hospitals, good medical care. But the bottom line is what the county is doing, people don't see. It's not pretty. It's kind of like what goes on under your house. You have the plumbing, the electrical wires. That takes a lot of work and takes a lot of know-how, but it's not something you show off. You show off your brand new kitchen. So the county can do a lot for economic growth, and this board is doing a huge job for economic growth. And that's why I want to join them and be a part of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Brad?
Hi, thank you. Earlier this year, this current commission teamed up with Traverse Connect, and we helped fund a program with them to look into workforce and what we need to do to build our workforce here and everything like that. So, you know, Traverse Connect has been working with the schools, working with the trades programs and everything, trying to get, you know, valuable workers into our area. That's one thing there. The housing's mentioned. Well, one thing which I will disagree with Bruce Moore here on this, but just recently between Representative Roth, Representative O'Malley, and Senator Schmidt here, Traverse City Housing got $6 million, I believe it was. I was not on part of that one, but you know, $6 million towards a housing project that's supposed to be going up on Lafreniere. And So we are doing things, but there were commissioners and local leaders that worked with all of our representatives trying to get that. Housing does play a big role in economic development. I've been around the entire country and everything here in the last year or so between out west and down south and everything. And it's the same conversation everywhere we go is not so much about economic development, but housing and daycare and everything, which does drive economic development. But one of the biggest things we face in this region is a very desirable region. And with us being so desirable, it's a supply and demand issue. And there's a lot of things that the county has no control of. That supply and demand is one for builders, lack of workers, supplies, lack of supplies is going to drive cost up, land, lack of land. Look at the city, for example, there's not a lot of empty lots sitting down there. So what's that do? That drives up prices. So a lot of it's out of our control and everything, but the county board, I believe that we've made a lot of positive reactions, and we've put money forward. We put our foot where we need to help promote this region economically and everything. And, as a commissioner, I will continue fighting.
Thank you. Rob? Is he on mute?
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, great. Little app issue. Anyway, so what's the county's role in economic development? I think the role of government in general should be that of a minimalist role. I believe that the government that governs least governs best, and I don't think the answer to every problem is another government program. I think we've got candidates stating a lot of problems, but not stating proven solutions. People are talking, like, at best, they're throwing a very expensive government program dart at an invisible dartboard. You look across the nation, we've got the same problems as everyone else. And someone coming on the scene, it's really easy to run for office and say, I got all the answers. Look at all the problems. Prove it. Nobody's done it anywhere, but we can address it. The current board has addressed our issues of, affordable housing, childcare. We've certainly made great strides in government getting out of the way by helping builders access licensing, which has to come through the county. We've created Epic GT. We pushed that out to some townships. We continue to roll that out and develop it so that people can get online and access their online permitting. And we continue to upgrade technology at the county to make the government a service entity, not an obstacle. So I do like Wayne Schmidt's idea about a community development director, because something we can be at the county is a convener, and to speak to the mention of another candidate. Wayne Schmidt did bring home $6 million for housing in Grand Traverse County, not to mention $7 million for the senior center. And that's a result of our county commissioners, other elected officials working with state elected officials. And that doesn't happen when all you have is problems with no solutions. It happens when you work together with other people to make things better in your local community. Thank you.
Thank you. Pamela?
Yeah, I think I want to answer this in a different way. I want to answer this in terms of what drew my family to move home to Traverse City when we had an opportunity to do so. We stand on the shoulders of our ancestors who built the infrastructure that we live in. So maintaining and growing this infrastructure and keeping our communities safe. This is the most important role that our government can play, particularly the local government. We ask them to keep us safe by putting people in jail when they need to be there, and by working with our medical system to get people into medical and mental health care and hospitalized when they need to be hospitalized and not in jail. And in order to achieve these improvements that we're striving to provide to our growing community, when we've seen an increase in anxiety and depression and suicide, we are really asking the private sector to join with us in the public sector, and we need to be good players, making sure that our environment is business friendly, that we're not overtaxing residents with frivolous decisions like giving away parks that community cannot afford to sustain. We'll raise taxes that you can't spend otherwise. People are really pressed by inflation right now, and we need to be aware as representatives of our community, as public servants, that we need to be so careful with our taxes. We need to have a
Thank you. Lauren?
A sustainable local community 100% depends on its citizens being able to find affordable and dependable housing to help them put down strong roots to live, work, and grow in this area. As a county commissioner, I will work with other community leaders, nonprofits, and business leaders, and all other stakeholders to ensure that a plan is put together and executed to end the housing issues in Grand Traverse County. This is an issue across the nation. There are people working on ideas that can be done right here in our community. Without facing the housing issue first and head on, next steps to support economic development will be moot. Quality year-long workforce housing is needed to attract new talent, young families, and skilled labor to our area to sustain our economic growth. While we're working on the housing issues, we have the other issues we need to be faced: the daycare crisis, infrastructure needs, mental health, and so on. With tourism being such an economic strength for our region, we need to invest and ensure the members of our community, such as the hospitality employees, the county employees, the hourly workers at the local businesses, and our educators can thrive in Grand Traverse County to continue to grow our economy.
Thank you. David?
Yeah, I think the Board of Commissioners, they should be supporting the sustainable housing issue and income for younger people. It's the younger people of our community that are gonna sustain our community for the future. Us people with all the gray hair in this meeting, we're not gonna be here forever. It's the young people that we have to try to support to make the community flourish and continue to flourish. That means trying to change the old adage of half the pay for a view of the bay to a rising tide raises all ships. That would go a long ways to helping with a lot of the issues individually if everybody had a sustainable wage for the area. In my industry, we're the lowest paid local area in the whole state. I have a hard time keeping people here. They leave. They get the ability to earn enough money to pack up and leave, and they leave. We need more people here that are going to stay here and support the community. We have to make it affordable for them to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. TJ?
Thank you. I see the role of the county board here as first supporting the local workforce and businesses. And we do that by working to improve the lack of affordable housing and the childcare situation that my colleagues have already mentioned. I would also say that our role here is to support investments that improve critical infrastructure, transportation, water and wastewater, and broadband. These are regional issues, and if we're going to address them in a meaningful way, which we must, the county commission must take a lead role in bringing people together in developing an updated strategic plan. And it must reflect our growing community. It must have short and long-term goals, and it must provide practical next steps to implement them. Without a strategic plan, we're missing out. There's an unprecedented levels of federal funding that's available now through various acts in the last year to support new jobs, retraining opportunities, housing support. The state of Michigan plans to open 1,000 new childcare facilities in Michigan in the next 2 years. They have funding and resources underway. We must have a plan so that we are getting some of those facilities here. The county historically facilitated a regional housing task force with the townships, the city, nonprofits, the home builders. They kept data on housing metrics. They developed recommendations to increase housing. That fell away. It must be reconstituted. The other role of the county board is to advocate for state policies and funding to support our workforce. Much of what we're facing here is happening all over our country as a result of neglect in Lansing for decades. We are now trying to catch up on the chronic failure to invest, the lack of revenue sharing, the reduction by 25% in revenue sharing to local government to address these kinds of issues. We have a state housing fund that has been neglected since 2012.
Thank you. That was our final question for tonight. Thank you to all of the candidates for being with us. I'll turn it over to Henry Wolf.
Well, thank you again, candidates. We appreciate you all taking the time to answer these questions tonight and to use those questions as a chance to expand a little bit, not just on economic issues or transparency, but things that are important to you and your reasons for running. So I want to tell our viewers again that these candidates have taken the time to answer more questions that are located on our website, and the link to that is in the chat and also on the Travers Connect website for those that are interested in hearing these candidates elaborate on a more broad range of issues. So I just wanted to say thank you again to Rebecca and the Record Eagle for moderating. Thank you, candidates, for taking the time to do this. You know, I know that everyone has had an extremely busy schedule, but to see the turnout here tonight says a lot about the candidates here and a lot about the lengths you'll go to make sure you're accessible to members of our community. So thank you to everyone for watching tonight. Thank you to our candidates, and best of luck to all of you in November.